you can avoid thinking like this, I highly suggest it. I have a list a mile long of all kinds of neurotic, illogical behavior. And being a picky eater who refuses to eat things even though I don't know what they taste like is just one of those things on that list. So, to not treat books that way, I want to taste test everything. Quarantine has made me lose my mind. Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I would like to talk to you about book genres and subgenres and let you in on a new little project that I've got going on. Okay, so first I need to warn you, there's not going to be any payoff in this video for you. Like, there's not going to be some big reveal, or I'm not going to, ask you to do something epic, like vote on something. I'm just here to talk to you about genres and to tell you how I'm going to incorporate all of the different genres and subgenres into my reading life, right? So, let me get right to it. I hate genres. I hate it. And it's not the literary world's fault, because ultimately at the bottom, at the center of it is my hatred for our need as a human, as a society, as a culture, what have you, to categorize things. It drives me crazy. There are so many variations to everything in this world, including books, that to try to slap a label on them, it just, like, to only be able to be known by a few select adjectives, it just drives me crazy. So let's relate this to books, okay? I'm a huge, genre fiction is my thing. Like, genre fiction is my whole reading life. Short of some nonfiction, I don't read literary fiction. I don't read classics. Genre fiction's where it's at for me. But because I'm uncomfortable with categorization, but because everybody agrees that we're going to categorize everything, I struggle with genres. I struggle to tell you what genre something is. It's confusing for me. When somebody tells me they've read a steampunk novel, I don't really know what that means. So I feel like in order to feel comfortable, both placing a label on any book that I read, or even responding to the use of the label by someone else, I feel like it's important to establish what genres and subgenres I want to recognize, what fits into those subgenres, and whether or not I like them, because I'm not the most well-read person. I usually stick to thriller, romance, horror. There's a whole world of books out there that I know that I'm missing out on. And to be quite frank, people slapping a label on something, if I don't like that label, then I don't ever pick up that book. It just drives me insane. Does it drive anybody else insane? Am I alone here? So I've created a genre project, and I have a few different objectives to achieve with this project. The first is education, plain and simple. I want to know what each of these genres is. I want to know what books represent these genres and or subgenres. My second objective is to broaden my reading horizons. I'm a one-laner kind of person. I honestly am. In everything, I find something that I like, and chances are I'm running with that for years, if not decades. I'm not a risk taker. I'm only willing to invest so much in something, or to put myself out there to a certain degree. So when it comes to food and entertainment and books, like, as I've determined that I've liked it, like, why find anything else, right? And I'm just old enough now to take a good hard look at that habit in my life and ask myself how I can change it, even if I hate it. I think it's necessary. I think it's time for me to do this. And the third objective is to really hone in on and define what I like. There are some unexplored things out there. And as long as things remain unexplored, I can't give you any conclusions. I need to experience things for myself in order to draw any conclusions. That's true in every single aspect of my life, and it is impossible for me to gain all the experience that I need to draw all the conclusions that I need and make all the decisions that I need to make in life. It is awful. But we're focusing on books. Focusing on books. So that's my third objective, is to hone in on what exactly I like and also identify things that I don't like. And maybe at the end of this, I will come out of it making better TBR choices. I want to, at the end of the day, see a book, know I'll love it, and then get back in that lane. Then stay in that lane. Like I said at the beginning of the video, there's going to be absolutely zero payoff for you. Because what I've come up with is a list of 125 subgenres of types of genre fiction. So we have mystery, horror, thriller, romance, fantasy, and science fiction. So between those 6 genres, there are 125 subgenres that I've put into a list and then have put into this bowl. So here's the plan. In the midst of every Pick My Book video where you tell me which physical book from my TBR to read, I am also going to draw out of this bowl one of the 125 subgenres. And then I am going to read 3 books that month from that subgenre. Now, if you're keeping up and you're doing the math, if I were to do one subgenre every month, it would take me 10 years, over 10 years, to get through 125. That's why I said there is no payoff to this. Like, there's no end. There's no big finale. It's not about conquering them all. For me, it's not about reading every genre that exists. It's about saying, let's take a look at this genre and let's see what I like about it and what I don't like about it. And if those are books that I want to explore further in the future. It's not about giving myself a big pat on the back for having read 125 subgenres. And I want to be able to justify why I don't read something. For instance, I don't read fantasy. I don't read a ton of science fiction. And people can ask me why. Well, I mean, it just doesn't appeal to me. I don't like it. But I can't justify to you why. I can't tell you the things that a fantasy novel does that really get under my skin, with the exception of not being able to pronounce any of the proper names. If I've read several fantasy novels, specifically 3 high fantasy novels, 3 Arthurian, 3 Gaslamp, 3, if I've read those, then I can probably give you a better idea of why I steer clear of that genre. If, after having read those, I do continue to steer clear of the genre. Let me give you this analogy. I'm a super picky eater. There are a lot of foods out there that I absolutely refuse to eat, but I don't know what they taste like. It's ridiculous. I understand. I am not without neuroses. If you thought that I was, let's stop right here and clear that up for you. I have a list a mile long of all kinds of neurotic, illogical behavior. And being a picky eater who refuses to eat things even though I don't know what they taste like is just one of those things on that list. So, to not treat books that way, I want to taste test everything. So welcome to the Genre Project, folks. The 125 genres that I came up with were pulled from all kinds of online resources, literary blogs, Goodreads, Wikipedia, Amazon, you name it, trying to get just a broad scope of genres or subgenres that people acknowledge as being valid, be it either from a literary standpoint, a consumer standpoint, or a marketing standpoint. Like, what are they? And then I've also spent some time finding some books that fit into those subgenres, which has become an infuriating process that I'm going to put off from here. Because I found trying to identify the 3 books that I wanted to read before ever having pulled that subgenre, I just decided that was a bad idea. One, because it could be 2 years before I get to that particular subgenre, and the greatest literary work of that genre could be released within the next 2 years, and I would be missing out. So that's A. B is also that I was starting to go a little bit crazy, and again, my hatred of categorization was rising to the surface. I was finding that just looking for recommendations for a certain type of genre book, like a certain type of fantasy, like things kept reappearing over and over and over again. Like, I don't know anything about Game of Thrones, but I'm telling you what, if it's 7 different types of fantasy novel, then why do we need 7 different types of genres? Like, I don't get it. You know, I feel as though Goodreads especially is a popularity contest. Amazon, if you look for recommendations on Amazon, they're going to give you things that are probably going to make them the most money. I was just struggling and getting really frustrated. And like I said, I just kept seeing the same books appear over and over again. Not to mention, I have a huge hurdle to overcome with this project and in my reading life in general, which is historical things that have taken place in the past. And to me, history started about 1980. Anything earlier than 1980, I consider historical. I am probably alone in that. But when you start talking science fiction, especially, if you get a science fiction novel written in 1980 and it's a futuristic novel that takes place in the year 2010, that bothers me. I can't get past that. I have some timeline challenges that I'm going to need to overcome for this project, which is also what I was struggling with on the list. Because if you look up a list of the best fantasy novels of all time, chances are the best fantasy novel of all time was not written in 2019. So I'm just gonna not make any decisions right now on specific books. And then in the Pick My Book videos, I will pick a genre, I will ask you for recommendations, and then I will go off on my own and start book shopping for the types of books or for the actual titles that I want to read in that genre. And I'll probably try to record that process when I can and include that in my reveal video when I come back after reading those books and tell you which ones they were, how I found them, and then what I feel about the genre. So sorry that we didn't discuss any specific books in this video. But this is really for people who are consistent viewers, for you to know like what's coming and how it fits in and not be taken or caught off guard. I will be back in the next video with my Pick My Book selections for me to read in the month of June, and I will be picking a genre, and I'll also be reintroducing the Kindle Roulette, so stay tuned for that. I should walk out of each Pick My Book video with 5 TBR books. If you're still watching up to this point, thank you very much for sticking with me and learning more about my chaotic mind, and hopefully finding something to relate to. And let me know, of course, what you think about this project. I'm always interested in your feedback, be it positive or negative. I look forward to sharing this process with you and hopefully encourage some of you to do something similar, if not the same. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all very soon.